Hello, I am Drag, and welcome back to the channel. This is gonna be a bit of a quicker video, and before I start, please drop a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more of my speed paint videos. So, if you haven't been living under a rock, you've probably been aware of the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off series, and the many fan arts that have been floating around various artist circles of the internet. In my particular communities, there has been a particular Lucas Lee floating around, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really get what the hype was. And I was like, I mean, maybe, maybe this community is just full of hoes. Like, I mean, it is full of hoes, right? But you can't really do anything about that. And while I've never really been the biggest fan of Scott Pilgrim, not to say that I hate it or dislike it, I just could never really get into it. Never really something that interested me. But after watching the series, I can strongly say I still don't quite get it. But this little trend taught me, well, it reminded me why I don't really like to jump on trends and why I don't really draw fan art too often if I'm not very passionate about what I'm drawing. And I ended up having to draw this character 3 times. And I'm still not quite satisfied with the final result. So it was a good chance to see what I need to work on when it comes to making characters identifiable. The biggest rule that I've always kept in mind whenever it comes to character designs is to pick 3 key characteristics of what makes that character look like them. So if you have those 3 things, it doesn't matter what style they're drawn in because they have those 3 things. But with this particular character, I think what I really got hung up on was the smile, the facial hair, and, well, his hair. What I really got stuck up on was the style that it was drawn in. It's a very simplistic style, and it's very deceptive in how simplistic it is. And I ultimately think that this hang-up was what gave me the most trouble. Well, as you can see, in the first drawing, I didn't quite get his hair right. I made it a bit too flowing and a bit too styled. It was too much of a coif. And while I really ended up liking how that looked, it didn't look like the character. So I had to end up resketching it a lot. And for some reason, I was really hung up on this pose, so I was going to keep that pose. In my initial resketch, I thought what I needed to work on was the hair, but when I was looking more at his design, I realized that he has a very broad frame, so I need to make his face broader as well in order to make the character look like the character. I kept this in mind while I had the rep up. Like I said, I was really intent on that pose. I remember since it was the one thing that did carry over, as I just said, and I think it's because it shows off the enough muscle to not be boring, but it's also dynamic. It's dynamic, so it has the just that little bit of movement. And apparently, a friend said that this drawing has all of my artistic signatures. That's what I said, and I still don't know what that means. So I posted it on Twitter, and people said, yeah, he's buff, he's flirty, and we really like that smirk. So yeah, I I will take that. But with that, here is my failed attempt at drawing Lucas Lee from Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And I'll I'll call the video here. Fuck. Please follow me on all my other social media I'm active on. Except fuck that, okay? I decided that I really hated this, and I spent 2 days redrawing the whole thing. To start out, I pulled up more references, and this time I decided to have them actually on the canvas that I was drawing on. Because of Procreate, I decided to make the layers private so you guys couldn't see them. It doesn't matter. The point is I was freehanding them. And I was basically really focusing in on what made this character look like this character. The roundness of his face, the spikes of his hair, how he drew his hair. Because I realized that while I was focusing on those 3 aspects, I was mainly looking at other artists' interpretations of it while trying to force it into my style. And well, I mean, I've learned. I think I've learned I can't force things to look good in my style. And while I was resketching over, I realized what it actually was. It was his eyes. His eyes were not the shape that they needed to be. He has very square eyes. So I needed to figure out how to translate that to my style. And once I did, it actually was kind of smooth sailing past that point. Here is the actual final drawing of my Lucas Lee from Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Now roll that end stuff. Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. And if you feel so inclined, please donate a Ko-fi. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.